Okay. So what I will be taking, see, because the day of immunology is
Yes, ma'am, you can say it.
about the spreading awareness of basics of immunology. You must have been reading a lot about what are the current vaccines and how are they working. But what is the basic mechanism? How do they act? So I am just going through the entire basics of every whether natural immunity or what is inflammation, what are vaccines. So during entire day, when you come across any something on genomics or COVID logistics, you come to know who is talking about what, especially the panel discussion, which is going to be very interesting, and they are all experts in the field. So when they talk about all advances and experts, advances in the field and what are the government policies, if you come to know, if you get to know all these basics, how mainly the vaccines are working or how we are going to curb this disease. So I'm going to take you entirely through the basics of immunology. The seniors may find it little repetitive, but this is mainly we are conducting for college students and teachers. So please bear with me. So to start with, and at every point, I'll tell you how the natural immunity is going to be the winner of this, the battle. I will tell you. So to know, we start with that the stem cells in the body, in the bone marrow, they are the ones which actually give rise to all kind of immune cells. Okay, and then continuously these cells are moving in the body. There's continuous circulation of these immune cells, so they bring about the immune surveillance. They are continuously moving, they are continuously ready. So what is the first line of defense, what we'll see? So before that, we have, these are the various lineages which blood stem cells give rise. We have red blood cells, we have platelets, we have neutrophils, macrophages, B cells, T lymphocytes, natural killer cells. So these are all lineages which actually are ready from the bone marrow stem cells. So what happens? So whenever the first entry of this antigen in the body, so that is called natural immunity, because body is not yet geared for any specific antigen. So something which is currently constantly or consistently present in the body, that is called natural immunity. So it is called first defense response. It doesn't require prior exposure to foreign antigens. It is specifically, it do not specifically recognize any antigen. So it doesn't discriminate which antigen, whatever comes which is foreign, it will recognize. It is not stored in form of memory, and it is not enhanced upon subsequent exposure to same antigen, but it works in concert with specific immunity. Now in consequent slides, I will keep hampering how the natural immunity is important, how the the groups, we have some experts from Ayurveda and even the homeopathy. Besides working on the allopathy, we will say that how these homeopathy and this thing, they harp on the natural enhancing body's innate own immune responses, natural immune responses. So we will keep going over these slides again and again. So what are the components of natural immunity? Physical and chemical barriers, where the surfaces which are exposed to outside surfaces, that is skin, epithelial barrier, so they have these mucous membranes. Now you will come to see this mucous membranes is what you are actually wearing mask all the time. So mucous membranes are body's mask actually. Those are inherent masks. So those mucous membranes are to be strong. They have to be ready to face the new challenges or the foreign antigens. So the system which are today, who will be speaking on panel discussion, mainly how to strengthen the mucosal immunity and how to strengthen innate immunity. And these are the regular, the pH, lysozyme, these are the regular components which are present in the body. We have phagocytic cells which involve macrophages, neutrophils. These are bodies, actually you can call it a surveillance mechanism and scavengers. So they remove unwanted particles from the body. They sense new particles in the body. You also have these natural killer cells. So they have some non-specific mechanism of tackling foreign antigens. We also have some soluble molecules. Now these complements, interferon, these are also very essential as natural immunity. And in vaccines, what is going to happen? We are actually developing adaptive immunity, but even by the time this adaptive immunity is developed, what you require is a strong natural immunity. So the mechanisms of this innate or natural immunity, you need phagocytosis, you need complement activation. Now this complement activation, it marks, this, there are some 9 components which I'll show you in the next slide. And they are particular, they always work in a systematic, organized manner. It is a wonderful system of the own body that complement how they act. C3b acts for opsonization, means tagging the molecule. Now which is the molecule which is to be removed from the system. We also have some other mechanisms, anaphylotoxins. So these are the ones which they trigger inflammation. Now this is what the crux of this COVID disease is, inflammation. So though we know basic what is natural immunity, adaptive immunity, what is happening, that normal inflammation which is required to maintain homeostasis, and if this inflammation loses balance, if there is over inflammation, over active of the immune response, the immune response is going overboard, and how then that causes damage to the body is what is to understand about the COVID altogether. And if we can manage this, managing the inflammation, this is how again where the natural products or the other say homeopathy or these things will come in picture, where they will control the inflammation part, and the allopathy drugs which will actually stop viral entry or viral replication. So these are the two balanced things have to be must for COVID management. So here is the complement system. Here if you have a foreign antigen, the antibody which is recognizing it will gather this C1q component. So this is what the entire cascade, it is very organized, may the number of which complement factor comes after which, it is all well decided, and then it leads to removal of the foreign antigen. So this complement being a part of natural immunity has been very essential in this particular disease. Here you can see this neutrophil is marked with this complement and complement particular factor, and then this can be actually working on the effector mechanism. The unknown factor of bacterium or virus will be engulfed by phagocytosis and removed from the system. This also one part of innate immunity. Now next is adaptive immunity. This is where the vaccines are working to strengthen our adaptive immunity. Adaptive immunity, it is generally specific towards specific antigens. So whenever whoever will be taking vaccines will be actually developing this part of immunity. Immune cells, lot of immune cells, T lymphocyte, B lymphocyte, as I mentioned, some molecules will be antibodies, there will be some cytokines. The best part of this particular immunity is it has got memory. So it is stored in form of a memory. So this is where the vaccines will be working. So not only non-specific, later on it will have in a form of a memory. So any other time if you come in contact with any COVID patient or some COVID viruses, your body's these memory cells will get activated and the immune response will be streamlined again. This also, of course, work with natural immunity, because this is where after natural immunity it starts. So the type of two specific immune responses are cell-mediated immunity, which is actually based on the T lymphocytes, and you have humoral immunity, which is based on antibody. So by now, I think everybody, even those who are not exposed to immunology, are aware that antibodies have to be generated in the body. Some T cells have to be generated in the body. So this is how, and now whether those T cells are specific and antibodies are specific. Now what here I want to is that antibodies are specific against particular epitope or antigenic determinant. But now you have been hearing about double mutant. Now if the COVID virus is changing the surface structure, again now it will take some particular time to generate antibodies against that particular mutant. So this is why we see sometimes delay, or we are seeing that despite taking 2 vaccine dose, patients are coming up with viral infection. But of course, because the non-specific immunity is already there, which is a more developed, and also some adaptive immunity is there. So after 2 vaccine doses, if somebody comes up with COVID infection, surely the intensity is very less, because body is already tuned halfway. So the differences between natural and adaptive immune responses we have shown here. You have cellular components present in both the system. T and B lymphocyte, which are specific, which are there only in specific immune responses, adaptive. Soluble components, antibodies, which are specific, is always there in adaptive only. Complement cytokines, which I mentioned, which are very essential in marking the foreign particle or cell with viral infected cell. So these are there in natural, for that is the first line of defense. In specific, all immune responses also there. Physical barrier is there in natural immunity. Antigen stimulation in here. Immunologic memory, which is very essential, which is here in specific immune responses. And adaptive immune responses can get expanded, as we'll see in some next slides. So immune response, there are phases, here. So if you are wearing mask here, now this virus can enter, as I told you. You have a nose, in nose you have mucosal system, in oral digestive tract you have exposure to foreign antigens. Through nose, if you inhale air, you come in contact with a lot of foreign antigens. So all these systems are lined with a mucosal lining, and this is how these, as we mentioned, complement, interferon, and some innate immune cells are already. So now the wearing mask is, you can understand, so we are helping our mucosal immune system actually, so that mucosal immune system doesn't get burdened, and the virus particles will be blocked at this level. So what is the, the steps in immune responses? First, they recognize foreign antigen, okay, through mucosal system. Otherwise, if they enter, the mucosal system is weak, cannot block it, the virus will enter our system. So we will see that later. And then activation of immune response, we will see those steps later. Once the immune system is activated, they will eliminate foreign body and bring down the homeostasis. Now this is where, and some part of cells go as a memory. So here in COVID infection, what has been happening, this homeostasis part is affected. Since the inflammation is really, the immune system is reacting so much, that inflammation is increasing so much, and the being the target organ being lung, there all those inflammation is causing over excess damage to lungs. And this is when if you cannot tackle infection at the earlier phases, later on it gets difficult and patient reaches ICU and some other ventilator support is needed. So what happens? These main cells are immune cells are generated in generative organs. These are called primary lymphoid organs. These are bone marrow and thymus, and these based on the growth factor, and first they get expanded. We undergo TCR. The T cell will undergo TCR gene rearrangement, BCR will undergo BCR rearrangement. This gene rearrangement is mainly, they get tuned, they get ready to what kind of epitope or what kind of antigen will be ready. So they're almost in, it's in the range of 10 raised to 18. Expand, those kind of options are there for T cell receptor, B cell. So any kind of antigen is there, our system will be ready to first face it. Only after facing it comes to know whichever specific one will undergo differentiation and maturation. And later on, after the effector function is performed, they will undergo homeostasis, means the expanded immune response will come down, because the immune system just cannot keep remain activated. So this is where the difference lies, as I told you, in inflammation continues for long, and this particular part in the immunology is actually important to be focused on in COVID infection. So what are the various factors? You must have heard a lot of immunoglobulins are involved. There are different kind of immunoglobulins. One's in breast milk or involved in allergy, which is IgE, and you have IgM and IgG, which are otherwise important as a first. First comes IgM, and then comes effector specific IgG. As I told you, B cell receptor, T cell receptor, a human HLA complex, because this is the one which recognizes, distinguishes self from non-self. So this is also very essential. Being innate immune response, important cell type, natural killer cell. So these immunoglobulins is also essential. So here you have, as I had mentioned, these mucosal surfaces. When you get exposed to antigens in oral system, there are tonsils which are having mucosal immune system, the skin which is a barrier having mucosal immune system, and then small intestinal epithelium again, which exposes this intestinal system also has got this mucosal lining where there is a continuous bombarding of these cells. So here you have phagocytes. When they, as I told you, phagocytes ingest these cells, and CD4 T cells get the CD4 T cells get activated. They will secrete cytokine, and I'll be going about these details of these also. That macrophages ingest foreign antigen, interact with T cells. The macrophages get activated and can kill microbes or viruses themselves, or they activate neutrophils. They can get neutrophils to the site of injury, and then later it leads to inflammation. So inflammation at the lower level is very needed for the immune response, but at the same time, as I told you, it goes overboard. If it is overactivated, this is where we need to tackle. So you must have heard about interleukin 6. So we will be coming to that also. That pro-inflammatory cytokines, interleukin 6 or IL-1 beta, when that gets overexpressed, you must have heard this tocilizumab. We will be hearing that in during panel discussion also. So this is where the tocilizumab will add and control it over activation of the immune response. So once these CD4 helper T cells get activated, they in turn activate CD8 plus T cells also, and they also can bring about kill of the infected cells, infected virus infected cells, and remove from the system. So here now how this antigen based expansion takes place. So if particular cell, T cell or B cell, it sees specific antigen, and this is a polymeric response actually. In non-specific response, that's the first line of response, you have a lot of B lymphocytes, but only one particular B lymphocyte which is finding specificity towards a spike protein of the COVID virus or particular protein on the virus, that only will get expanded, and it will get differentiated and become a plasma cell. Plasma cell is something which actually is a one which secretes those specific antibodies, and then some part of it after homeostasis will be stored in form of a memory. So same exactly antibody type isotype will be secreted by this particular cell which is stored in form of a memory. So here is it. As I told you, this macrophages are the ones which are actually directly interacting with the foreign antigen or say viruses or bacteria. So very essential. What are the macrophages in different? You can see these macrophages are spread all across the body. So in blood it is called monocytes, but in brain the same macrophages are called microglial because at specific site they have additional specific function. In liver, they are called Kupffer cells. In kidney, they are called phagocytes. In lymph nodes, they are called circulating macrophages. In spleen, they are called macrophages, as I told you, in blood, monocytes. In joint, synovial A cells. So when you hear that, say, with the rheumatoid arthritis, the joints, so these macrophages are actually, again, there is over-inflammation, and they start secreting pro-inflammatory cytokines, which is leads to actually cytokine storm, and that is the one, even in these cases it will affect body more. Like in COVID, the inflammation is the one which I keep emphasizing again and again, that this is the one which causes harm more to the body, cytokine storm, than even virus itself. Okay, so as I told you, these tissue macrophages, they are mainly non-specific, secrete interleukin 1, TNF alpha. They help differentiation of T and B cells. They kill virus infected or tumor cells direct themselves. They also mediate their cytotoxicity to antibody dependent cell cytotoxicity through Fc receptor. And they themselves are also activated by interferon gamma. So here you can see this macrophage engulfing bacterial particles. Here these three macrophages interacting with tumor. Now here I'll bring your note to draw your attention that macrophages is producing oxygen radicals, nitric oxide, interferon gamma. So you will see that new vaccine which is coming up, which is actually nitric oxide based. I think there's a nasal vaccine which will be coming up soon, and so there's nitric oxides which are very essential, and you will, I think maybe in some Ayush or some other, they will also talk about how these nitric oxide molecules you will be getting through, maybe one I know is garlic, which is a rich source of nitric oxide. So those, I mean, many will be, at least myself, sort to maintaining strong non-specific immune response even before getting exposed to viruses and having it takes time to have adaptive immunity. So the natural killer cells, now natural killer cells, again first line of defense. Humans, there is specific, these are called CD markers, cluster of differentiation. These markers have got meaning, means they have one particular, say if it is CD3 positive, it is T lymphocyte. But these lymphocytes which are CD3 negative and 16 positive and 15-6 positive, we can isolate them as natural killer cells, study their function, or try manipulating them for our advantage. And they also have this NCAM receptor, but they do not have this T cell receptor or B cell receptor. And as I mentioned, CD3 distinguishes them from T cells. And this is how actually NK cells, now it is non-specific. So you may feel that anything in the body it may attack. No, it cannot attack normal cell because it has got MHC class 1 molecule. It recognizes MHC class 1, so that cell will be considered as normal, and it will not be attacked by these NK cells. And you can see that there's got some cytotoxic granules all over. But when there is a specific interaction, it has not seen tag this as a normal cell. So it is a, say, virus infected cell. Then the granules will get aligned at the immune synapse, and then that will lead to kill of this bacterial or viral infected cell. So this is how the B cell helps. So first, when the B cells, as I mentioned, B cell will see this foreign antigen, whether this immunoglobulin receptor which is specific on it, it will interact and it will lead to here you see that it will be internalized and these peptides will be presented by B cells. Now what happens here, you have these antigenic peptides will be presented. So B cell also acts like a B cells also will act like a antigen presenting cell. Now this B cell, activated B cells will now go and give signal to T cells, and then that will get further activated. So you have activated effector T cell, and which can lead to B cell itself also can lead to proliferation, B cell proliferation, and then it will induce the immunoglobulins class, which I told you, it starts with IgM and then moves to IgG, and further upregulation of it, adhesion receptor specific function molecules. So these activated B cells, it provides further help to T cells and makes the T cell further activated by specific receptors, interleukin 2 receptors, you have CD40L, you have these adhesion receptors, these are co-stimulatory receptors which are very essential for interaction of immune synapse. So here you can see activated B cells, which when it interacts with effector T cells, this T cells provides help to these B cells, and now then it becomes, it turns into this plasma cell and starts secreting antibodies. So this is the procedure will be happening when you are taking vaccines. The T cells, this is how the process, the vaccines will have these molecules which are now COVID specific. The B cells will recognize them, get clonally expanded, provide help to T cells. T cells will get activated, B cells will get activated, and then B cells will start secreting antibodies. So this is what happens in the body whenever the vaccines are taken. So you have this T cells and macrophage interaction also, like how we saw B cell activation. Here we also have these macrophages which engulf these antigens. They also interact with T cells, which turns later on to CD4 positive Th1 cells. These activated T helper cells has got a lot of, you can see this is a TCR MHC complex. It also has these co-stimulatory molecules which provide help to activate macrophage further. Activate macrophage also provides help to T cells further through IL-12, and all these cells. So now you have activated, after vaccination, you have activated macrophages, activated T cells, activated B cells, which are all ready to tackle infection. So as we had seen here earlier, I've just taken the slide again that viruses, you have complement, macrophages, lymphokines, activated T cells, B cells which are producing antibodies, killer NK cells. Now all these are ready, plus we have mask also so that virus entry itself is low. Now if still virus enters, whatever reason, then we have this inherent system and also adaptive specific system ready. So I had mentioned you these are nose associated, nasal associated lymphoid tissue. Okay, through nose. You have tonsil associated lymphoid tissue. You have bronchial. So when you inhale through this nose and goes to trachea, this air with say virus or not. So the trachea which has got bronchial associated lymphoid tissue. You have gut associated lymphoid tissue in esophagus and this. So these are the tissues which need to be strengthened using non-specific immunity as well as adaptive immunity. So, and here I got this slide specifically for you all because you must have seen earlier we have been covering mask actually. We have been covering nose and mouth. But now if you see in the second season I'm saying of this COVID, like last year was the first season, you can see there's a lot of cases coming with ear inflammation and pink eyes or the ear eye inflammation. So basically somewhere maybe we have been now taking good care of our nose and mouth, but somehow the infection is entering through mucosal linings of the ear and nose also. Of course, we will hear more about from our experts later on. I may not be the expert in the clinical aspects, but this is what observation I realize. So now we move on to vaccines and what are the vaccines? So vaccine is the first one actually. It's a either it can be a killed vaccine or a weakened microorganism. So what you've been hearing inactivated vaccine from Bharat Biotech and that's a co-vaccine and it is given to a person either orally or injected to prevent disease. So first I just would like to say that the Pasteur the term was coined by Pasteur, but the work was done by Jenner in 1796. But the term was coined in Pasteur by almost a century later, that is 1881. And since then, they have been so. This is the first patient which was vaccinated for actually they use cowpox to clear smallpox. So here you can do actually they have developed a they have taken a a similar kind of variety and they have tried to develop the non-specific immune response and so a specific immune response was against cowpox, but whatever the non-specific immune response was also there, it actually helps to eradicate smallpox. Now we do not have any smallpox cases. Now, there have been of course a reduction in these regular vaccine related diseases also. These vaccines are given in childhood only. So the passive immunity gives the transient protection, and it also involves direct transfer of this immunoglobulin. Example is transplacental and antibodies going through colostrum to a child, newborn child. You also given this. We can give this passive immunity to botulism, tetanus, or these diphtheria, uh, which provides immediate protection, passive immunity. Of course, it doesn't activate immune response itself and produces no memory. Against this active immunization has a long-term protection, and it is a what you get is a protective immunity, and it also has got immunological memory. Now, all these words, because I have taken you these basic slides, taken you through basics, you know what is protective immunity, what is immunological memory, how important it is. Okay, so immune system plays an active role here. So here it is inherent immune system is activated, whereas in passive something ready-made is provided. So here you have stimulate this it plays an active role. It itself stimulates antigen reactive and antigen specific T and B lymphocytes. Immunizations have been important in some infectious disease, especially in children. As we saw, we have in childhood only this hepatitis B, diphtheria, period, this triple polio vaccines are given. This is a hemophilia influenza. This particular vaccine is given more in US region. You have for measles, you have inactivated polio virus, you have this is a pneumococcus virus and varicella also. They are given abroad mainly. And here you have, for travelers, sometimes these vaccines are given for meningitis or yellow fever and polio and anthrax. So I'll give quickly go over slides because I'm not aware. Nathan, Nathan, how much time I have? So you have, so I'll just continue. So which immune system should be activated, and is immunological memory stimulated using this vaccine? So here we see, we'll quickly cover just few slides or what are the different type of vaccines. So you have attenuated viruses and bacteria. The positives of which is it is increases immunogenicity, has got memory also. Generally, these attenuated viruses, where the virulence is removed, and only single shot is sufficient for attenuated viruses. Stimulates host and cell-mediated response also, but the possibility of reversion to virulent can be there. Okay, such as polio, measles. Here you have Covishield, or I think Covishield, and what they have done here, live attenuated virus. Uh,
Correct.
so you actually are important giving as a trained innate immunity. Okay, trained immunity is also how it is given. What they have done, I'll give you one example here. So Candida albicans, uh, first they have given as attenuated vaccine, and then they expose these mice with a lethal challenge of Candida albicans and Salmonella. So what they found, the mice survived. So only if the Candida albicans immunity was there, but still it also gave some non-specific immunity, kept it ready. And when you gave Candida albicans and Salmonella lethal challenge, the mice survived. But when without this previous exposure, when only this lethal challenge was given, the mice did not survive. And you also see the septic shock increasing in presence of when the attenuated vaccine was not given, and the septic shock was reduced, much reduced, when the already attenuated vaccine was given. So this is how the attenuated vaccines are essential. You have some inactivated vaccine viruses, and you have they can be inactivated using either by some chemical agents or by heat killing. So the Covaxin is the inactivated part of a vaccine of this COVID. uh, there can be some risk of containing active pathogen, but and it generally predominantly activates humoral immunity. But here you require to give repeated boosters. So what you have, and the third part is subunit vaccine. So subunit vaccine can be inactivated exotoxin part of it. It can also include some capsular polysaccharides, or you can have recombinant antigen. So here actually, oh sorry. I think this thing. Sorry. So capsular polysaccharides actually have these, these vaccines. So they are subunit vaccines. So they are only against the virulence part of these bacteria, and still they can activate T helper cells. And this particular vaccine has been important in Haemophilus influenzae disease. And you have recombinant antigen like hepatitis B virus. This is again a subunit vaccine, and I think that the Covishield is actually against spike protein. So this is should be here, and recombinant antigen, and you have this hepatitis B vaccine here. So yeah, Sputnik and Covishield, they are actually by error. The slide Covishield went there. The Covishield and Sputnik one should be here. So they have taken actually the spike protein and put it in this vector, and so these encoding significant antigen from pathogen. Now in this case, we know it's a spike protein of the virus, which is essential. Especially, I've just taken in my last slide only the spike protein on virus, and AAC2 and angiotensin convertase enzyme 2. This is the one they interact. So this is the interaction which needs to be blocked first. So here mainly main vaccines have been all oriented towards spike protein, which is included in the vectors, and vectors include vaccinia, polio, or adenovirus. So here, in case of Covishield, it is adenovirus from I think chimpanzee, and in this Sputnik, which we will be seeing also, we will have this kind of vaccine. So these other vectors also, these are the safer vectors. Of course, lot of toxicity and regulations go into checking these. So now we just to give an example, live vaccines, they require attenuation, controlled attenuation, required risk of reversion, poorly defined composition. Killed vaccine also poorly defined composition, but multiple doses required here. Live vaccine, only one or few doses sufficient. Subunit vaccines, important is adjuvants are needed, multiple doses are needed, but they have defined composition. We know against what the T cell or B cell immunity will be developed. And subunit vaccine recombinant, there is no risk of pathogenicity because the entire virus is not there, but the multiple doses are required. So now you know what the current vaccine, they keep saying you have to have the second dose and exactly in which particular time schedule you should have. This is very essential. So here these are the few vaccines which I mentioned. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, so these are the few vaccines. Pfizer, these are RNA based vaccine. AstraZeneca, Sputnik, Johnson and Johnson. These are viral vector-based vaccines. Inactivated vaccines has got Covaxin, and there are few other vaccines which are also coming up. Here, there's Novavax also is coming up with some protein-based vaccine. This Bharat Biotech is coming up with a nasal vaccine. Serum Institute also, India is also coming up with along with Novavax, coming up with another vaccine. Zydus Cadila is recently, soon they will be announcing, or maybe they announce a little bit that they are also coming up with new vaccine. So a lot of vaccine, and as I mentioned, which kind of immunity they will be imparting us. So you have this, the ideal vaccine can be ability to maintain appropriate immune response, should give long-term protection, should be safe, they should have stability, because you must have heard about when the COVID vaccine via the trucks went, the transport trucks went, the stability and the temperature was very essential in transport, because whatever happens at the site of manufacture, the same safety and stability properties should be remained just before giving to the the patients or the volunteers. So the mainly the vaccine has to be inexpensive, because that is what is essential. So now I'll just give little bit about inflammation. Now I kept talking about how the overactivation of inflammation is actually the hampering COVID patients. And this is when we say that don't fear much, because once the fear which actually aggravates the inflammatory part of the body. So here, what do you say? There are few. These are called pattern associated molecular patterns. These are the ones which actually, sorry, these are the ones which important in recognizing foreign antigen. So you have toll-like receptors. You have the C type lectin-like receptor. There are two types. You have nod-like receptors. You have RIG1-like receptors, and you have AIM2-like receptor. So these are the, they have got specific patterns of units. Some say, for example, NLR will also have this lysine repeats, NACH domains, PICARD domains. TLRs will have some LLR and NY88 domains. So these are the domains, and these are the ones we actually recognize. So they are also called damage associated pathway. They lead to pattern associated pathway or damage associated pathway, and the controlled use of these particular inflammation is helpful, whereas overactivation of these inflammasome, they cause, NLR is also called inflammasome, means the additional overactivation of inflammasome will be harmful in like for example COVID. So here this innate immune mechanism, I've just got you for recapitulation, that phagocytosis and netosis means this neutrophil extracellular traps. So these neutrophils send some adhesion processes to trap these foreign antigens. Phagocyte by amoeboid action does this. But now what is coming important is pyroptosis, by inflammatory pathway, which is called nod-like receptors or AIM-like receptor. So this is how, so you have these either TLRs or NLRs. So when you this pathway, this macro is ingested, these NLRs get activated and they form called NLRP inflammasome. Now they actually secrete interleukin 1 beta and IL-18, IFN gamma. So these are the, especially IL-1 beta and IL-18 is the one which overactivates this particular system and leads to pyroptosis. So all the in COVID inflammation, these molecules are interacting and the cytokine storm, which is what we see, it is due to this overactivation of inflammation. So here you can see, here in short I've said this is from G et al 2020. Here you can see this, if for example COVID is, hello. So when COVID is entering, you can see this particular, it interacts with the ACE receptor on this mucosal lining, this lung epithelial cells. And when it enters, now there's another receptor. So all these receptors, I think Mr. Nikhil will help you more understand how this actually binding takes place of these virus with particular host receptors, and where all, we have taken some 4 molecules. I'll show in next slide that how the blocking can, we have done the predicted blocking. So those are the predictions, and then same can be shown using proper assays. So here what you is what you can, when the virus enters, it activates these various immune cells which we mentioned just now. It can lead to the cytokine storm involving interleukin 6, IL-1 beta, TNF alpha, and now these are the areas where it can be, say remdesivir, tocilizumab. It will act on overactivation of these interleukin 6 and some other molecules similarly. So this cytokine storm can be controlled. Vaccines will activate these specific cells. So this is how and these binding interaction, how it happens at the biophysical level, Mr. Nikhil later on will be explaining. So we had actually conducted one small study where we had taken some 2 phytochemicals, Shogal and glycyrrhizine, and this is where, so whether now these glycyrrhizine drugs, if they are acting at this particular binding, this is what the important step. SARS interacting with ACE2, and later on, which is leading to this NLRP pathway. Here we can actually see the cytokine storm, and whether these phytochemicals and these drugs, whether they are acting on this particular binding or acting on cytokine storm, is what we were interested in studying. This right now, these are just unpublished observations. So this is my last slide, and what I want to say that taming the beast. So this is actually a tarot card which talks about the strength. So we need to have this strength. We need to be courageous, strong to control this, whatever is happening. And in COVID, which is actually a overactivation of inflammation, you need to face this by courage, this particular disease, take appropriate treatment. And I think what treatment and all, we will be listening from the experts later on. And so this woman is actually having her patience, sweetness and warmth to charm this, to control this lion. Now we can say this lion or the inflammation which is induced by corona. So we need to have this strength. So thank you all. And if there are any questions, so we'll just stop sharing the screen. Nathan?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for your talk. If there are any questions, we will now address them.
So right now there are, I think, no questions. So
you can type your questions in the chat box.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Shuchita from Jai Hind College.
okay.
I wanted to know if antibody-dependent enhancement is seen with corona, especially SARS-CoV-2.
Okay, so see, as a part of basics, I can tell you, we have Dr. Prashant Tembare and we have Dr. Alka Nerurkar. I can see her logged in as a biochemistry BDS department. They will be speaking more about exactly, we have Dr. Preeti Chavan also. So they will be taking exactly what is happening in clinical level. But as a basics, I can tell you, COVID antigen will lead to antibody responses, and because it's a virus, so any virus or any bacteria will, as I told you, entire sequence I showed you, how the B cells or macrophages and the present antigen to T cells, then T cell give help to B cell itself to differentiate, become plasma cell and start producing antibodies. So definitely there are antibodies. And as I told you, the one particular, if the antibodies are against one particular epitope, and now if say somebody saying double mutant coming, so it is a different structure, different epitope. So now that even our body slowly will even get exposed and start producing antibodies to those two. But exact details about how much IgM and how much IgG, we will hear from expert later. So I hope, Suchita, have I answered your question?
It's okay, ma'am. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, because soon we will hear more about. I can see Dr. Preeti waiting, so she also will have some things to talk on the similar, aspects. Okay. Anyone else, Nathan? Otherwise, you can continue.
Ma'am, after taking vaccine, any
Okay,
effect
yeah.
on
Yes,
our
Abhinav.
immunity system?
Sorry. Repeat.
After taking a vaccine, any effect on our body immunity?
Of course, yeah. Immunity. This is what we have.
Ma'am, so the question is, yeah.
Yeah, Nathan, tell me.
No, I'll just repeat the question in case it's not audible. So the question is, after taking the vaccine, what are the effects on the person's body?
So you want to say immunity wise, immunity will be increased, but the clinical, basic immediate, because something foreign again is going into the body. So immediately body will have some reaction to it, but it persists only for 1 or 2 days. And I think the clinicians are more better to answer that. Dr. Preeti herself also is a clinician. Maybe that question she will also take up after her talk. Any other question, or Nathan, you can continue with Dr. Preeti's introduction.